I'm like, isn't that going to give you a deeper voice? I was like, you don't sound manly to me. And so she pulls out a 0.3, and so she's injecting 30 milligrams of Trenace. And she's telling me she's doing this every other day. And I'm like, so 15. That's about 100 milligrams of Trenace each and every week.
This is a brain rot special.
Tia Matic cooking in the basement.
Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going to be ranking PEDs for women. Now, many people, they know about what are the best performance-enhancing drugs for men in order to build muscle, to burn fat, and so on. But these are not necessarily the same that are best for girls. And so if you're a woman or if you're a man with a girlfriend who's on performance-enhancing drugs or considering them, this is the video for you. And so this idea was brought forth by David from Dynamite_D. He's a coach. He cares about the health of women. He doesn't want women to use and abuse performance-enhancing drugs, but he knows that they have to use them a little bit in order to achieve their goals. And so this is all about risk management. And so listen, I've coached hundreds of women to use performance-enhancing drugs, from SARMs to steroids to peptides to growth hormone to everything. And so I know which are the most dangerous, which offer the best results. And so we're gonna go and piggyback off his video and see, do I agree with him? Is he on point? Which do I think are the best and which are in fact the worst?
Primo, I'm actually going to rate this down into A tier. Very well tolerated, has a great use case.
And so first up, Primobolan, he's giving it an A. Is Primo effective? Yes, of course it is, but it does come at a cost. It is available in both oral and injectable form, and it does have less side effects than most. Now, here's the problem. Most of it is fake. And so if you are in fact buying Primo from somebody, the chances are greater that it's not Primo than it is Primo. And so my rating, I'm giving it a C. I can't in my own mind justify telling other people to use Primo when I know that there's a great chance that it's fake. And when I say fake, I mean that if you're injecting Primo, there's a very good chance that it's Mastrone, Equipoise, testosterone, Prop, whatever. And so you really need to be careful, because for men, hey, what's the big deal? If you think you're using Primo and it's test, whatever. You'll probably just build more muscle. But for a woman, well, the Adam's apple's gonna get bigger. You're gonna grow a beard, a mustache. This private area is gonna get thicker than last time. And you're gonna have a deep voice and probably start to lose your hair. And so you gotta be careful. But what if it's actually Primo and you know it? I still can't give it an A tier. I gotta give it a B. It's just too strong. Now remember, the poison is in the dosage. And so if you're using it in very small amounts, there's probably not gonna be tremendous side effects, but there are going to be side effects. Too much of a good thing, it's actually bad. And so if you start thinking, you know what, I can do 50 milligrams of Primo, no big deal, I'm gonna do 100, 200, the side effects are gonna happen. And so I remember back in the day, I have so many of these stories, a bikini competitor, I had been selling her Anavar. She's hired a coach. He was an IFBB pro, a male bodybuilder, and he put on her cycle. And she came and asked me, what do you think of this cycle? I just want to double check. It said to use 50 milligrams of Primo. And I said, oral or injectable? She's like, what do you mean injectable? I'm not injecting anything. And so it didn't even say which one. And I said, well, is it per day or per week? She said, well, I don't know. And so I said, are you kidding me? You've never used performance enhancing drugs and you're going to use Primo oral 50 milligrams a day. Perhaps he meant 50 milligrams injectable, but either way, it was too much. And so I ended up convincing her not to do it. And she ended up doing Anavar, and she was using it at 10 milligrams a day. And she was amazing. She ended up winning the competition. And so 3 months at 10 milligrams, which is, yes, a lot, but in comparison to 50 milligrams of Primo, I think I did in fact help her out. And so you can say you're a bad person. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But to me, if you can convince somebody to do something lesser than something more, which has less side effects, then that is good. Now, if I had said, don't do anything, be natural, hey, use Turk. yeah, that's better, but what are the odds that she's going to listen?
Winstrol, I'm gonna rank this in A tier, very, very low dosages. It does exactly what it needs to do, which is getting someone harder and tighter for state.
And so putting Winstrol at an A, having it equal to Primo, almost being S tier, I think this is ridiculous. Does Winstrol work? Absolutely. But it comes at a cost, and that is very serious side effects. And so in comparison to, for example, Anavar, the side effects of Winstrol are probably about double. And so why would anyone, and I do mean any female, or rather that, even male, use Winstrol when Anavar is available? Anavar is less hepatotoxic, it means less damage to the liver, it's safer, it feels better, and so why wouldn't you use the product that's better? And so to have Winstrol at A tier, this is ridiculous. It's C tier at best. And so Winstrol, we gotta hold it back. Now, here's one of the problems with Anavar. A lot of people are gonna sell you Anavar, but it's actually gonna be Winstrol. If you're injecting Primo, there's a very good chance that it's Mastrone, Equipoise, Testosterone, Prop, whatever. They're gonna fake it. And the reason for that is because Winstrol is significantly cheaper than Anavar. And so if you're sold Anavar, somebody could, instead of giving you Anavar, give you Winstrol. And not only is it going to be stronger and more effective, it's actually going to be cheaper, so they're going to make more money. And so when you're buying Anavar, there's a very strong chance that it isn't real. And so you really do need to be careful. And so if you're worried about your femininity, you care about your voice and so on, you don't want to be using Winstrol. Yes, I'm giving it a C because it does in fact work. But in comparison, Anavar is so much better. And so I'm giving Winstrol a C. And so next up, let's talk about Anavar. I gotta have it at S tier. Guys, of all the steroids that there are, from Primo to Winstrol to D-Ball to Clostebol to Superdrol, all of them, I do believe that Anavar sits at the top. And so because, in my view, Anavar is the best, safest, most productive anabolic steroid that women can do without experiencing horrendous side effects while in low doses, it's S tier. Now, please, rewatch this. I'm not saying that Anavar comes with no side effects. Just because it's S tier doesn't mean it's side effect free. Now, if there was a natural supplement that was S tier, it's clearly Turk Builder Max or Turk Platinum. There's going to be no side effects. Is this stronger than Anavar? Of course it is not. But you can take as many of these as you want, and you will not have to go down on your girl and give her the twist. It will not grow to that extent. It will remain the same size, and she will still be a woman. And remember, this works stronger in women than in men. And so if you're a woman and you're not using Turk Builder Max or Turk Platinum, and you're using steroids, well, pretty much you're an idiot or a moron. I mean, unless you haven't watched my videos, then it's okay. You weren't told about this. Your coach may not have told you that Turk is the way to go. And so by using the Turk Builder Max, you can use less of the Anavar. And so the thing with Anavar is the higher the dose is, the worse the side effect, especially when you do it for longer periods of time. If you only do a high dose of Anavar, for example, for 1 day or for 1 week, likely not too many bad things are going to happen. But when you extend that time, that is when the damage occurs, not unlike drinking alcohol. If you get drunk for 1 day, 1 night, well, you're not going to feel good the next day, but it's probably not going to ruin your body for the rest of your life. But what if you get drunk every day for a week, a month, 3 months, a year? And so whenever you're using performance-enhancing drugs, namely steroids, the damage, it can add up. And so when you're taking Anavar, it's much better to split out those doses into 2 to 3 times a day. That allows for more stable blood levels to occur. And so remember this, when in doubt, spread it out. It kind of rhymes, and so I'm hoping that you'll remember this. And so Anavar, as far as steroids go, to me that is goated. If you need more than Anavar in order to achieve your goals, the goals are not worth it. Let me say that again. If Anavar isn't strong enough to get you to your goal, you need a different goal. And so let me give you an example. You are competing for a bodybuilding competition. You're in bikini or figure or whatever. And Anavar, it's not strong enough to get you your goal. Your coach is saying, you know what? You did the Anavar, you've done 2-3 cycles. You still need 10 or 15 pounds more muscle to get the pro card. We're going to put you on some Primo. We're going to put you on some debt. the goal isn't worth it. Whatever that goal is, making the Olympia or going from bikini to figure or figure to physique, nah, it's not worth it. For men, we're lucky. I abused steroids for 10 years. It didn't turn me into a woman. I still look like a man. Now, if I die of a heart attack because I abuse steroids, then clearly it's not worth it. But for women, the physical appearance that you have to carry that with you for life. And so please, please.
Trend coming in at ruin your life tier, going into the garbage tier list. Has no use case.
Exactly. Trend is an F. I can't believe women use trend. It blows my mind. There's this one girl I hooked up with, and she was a bikini competitor. And at this time, I'm 100% natural. I'm not using steroids at all. She most certainly probably thought I was, because, man, guys, I had a great physique. People thought I was enhanced. And so the next day, she's like, I got to do my shot. And so I'm like, okay, I've never seen this before. And so I'm going to watch somebody do. For the first time in my life, I'm watching her do a shot. She hauls out the needle. Guys, it was a 21 gauge needle. I'm looking at the thing and I'm saying, you're going to put that in your leg? I could not believe it. I'm like, isn't that going to give you a deeper voice? I was like, you don't sound manly to me. She's like, you should have heard me before. When I was on the phone, people thought I was like a 15-year-old, like I was a kid. And so the voice had changed. She admitted to me that it changed tremendously, but it wasn't very masculine yet. It had changed it, but not yet. And so she pulls out a 0.3, and so she's injecting 30 milligrams of Trenace. And she's telling me she's doing this every other day. And I'm like, why are you injecting Tren? She's like, well, it doesn't hold any water. I need to be dry. I don't want to look bloated. And so if you do the math, let me do this math. So that's 30, so 15. That's about 100 milligrams of Trenace each and every week. Tren puts on about 3 times more muscle than testosterone. It's perhaps 5 times as androgenic. And so if you kind of convert this out, it was equivalent to doing 300 milligrams of testosterone in terms of how much muscle it's going to build. Do you really think a bikini competitor needs to use something equivalent to 300 milligrams of test to get ready for a competition? Of course not. Now, she had a lot of muscle and she looked pretty good, but she had just started. But imagine what's going to happen each and every week. Every week, she's going to turn more and more into a man. Her voice had already changed. And so you got to be careful. It's not worth it. I've known and coached other girls who have used Tren. They come to me and they show me their cycles and I'm like, oh my God. Guys, these are true stories. You got to be careful with the steroids. And so Tren, it's getting the F. It's garbage for any woman.
Glenn coming in at S tier. Not every woman can tolerate it well. And if they can't tolerate it well, sometimes it's better off just to stay away.
Glenn is S tier? Oh my goodness. Okay. Glenn is getting a C tier. It's not S tier at all. And so here's the thing. Back in the day, I coached a number of athletes to use Glenn. This is before we had GLPs. For example, retatrutide, Ozempic, tirzepatide. If you take Glenn, not only is it dangerous, aka it could kill you, literally, you could be taken to hospital, it's bad for your heart, it's not needed. Now, Glenn gives you energy. Yes. It improves your metabolism. Yes. It burns calories. Yes. In an emergency, in a pinch, it can get you leaner than last time. But if you need to use Glenn, what that tells me is you got too fat in the off season or you saved your diet for too long. And so the key should be you don't need the Glenn. And if you in fact do need it, you save it for the last few weeks. And so if your coach says we're starting our 12-week or 16-week prep, you're going to do Glenn for 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. This is moronic. To burn fat, all you need to do is be in a calorie deficit. If you can't get in a calorie deficit, then why not take a GLP? In comparison to taking Glenn, GLPs, all of them, whether it's Ozempic or tirzepatide or Reta, they're S tier plus. For contest prep, for showing off the vascularity, the conditioning, the leanness, everything, it helps you more than any of these other drugs that are very, very dangerous. And so, hey, if you do want a GLP, of course, you can go to Algorex, you can go to your doctor, ask your coach, whatever. But I'm telling you, it's far safer than all of these dangerous fat burners that you don't actually need in order to burn fat. Do fat burners work? Yes. For example, even over-the-counter ones, like we have G-Shred, it improves your metabolism, gives you more energy, you can go faster on the bike, cardio, and so on. And of course, they can burn more fat, but if you don't eat the calories in the first place, you don't need to burn them off. Does that make sense? And so Clen, it's giving a C tier. Yes, it can work a little bit. Not as much as, for example, walking a mile, but it does have some benefit, but it isn't as safe as people think. And so while I'm at it, I'm going to add in T3. I'm also giving that a C tier. Yes, it can speed your metabolism. Yes, I've coached people to do it. Yes, I've used it myself. But again, you don't need Clen or a T3 or a special fat burner if you don't eat those extra calories in the first place. And so let's not get fat in the off season, and let's not need to use these dangerous fat burners in order to lose weight.
HGH and easy S tier, actually at the top of S tier in front of everything else.
And so again, I don't understand all the hype with HGH. S tier. How is it S tier? HGH comes with a host of negative side effects. Men and women who abuse HGH, you can visually see the changes. It's not safe. Now, one of the reasons people use HGH is because it helps you to eat more food and to stay lean. Why would we need to do that? Why do everyone want to eat so much food? Take the GLP, don't get fat in the first place, and you don't need the HGH. Also, HGH is very expensive, tremendously expensive, more expensive than anything else. It doesn't offer as many benefits as you think, and it can cause unwanted side effects. This is not a drug that you want to abuse. It's not something that I believe is S tier. S tier is a drug that many people are going to be using. And so I can't imagine all the women out there competing in women's fit model and bikini competitions using growth hormone, that they're on growth hormone year round. I just don't see it as that safe of a compound. And so I'm going to put HGH as a B tier, as in it's still beneficial. It's perhaps safer than some of the other compounds, but it's certainly not good enough to be an S.
Testosterone, people are going to beat me up for this one, but this is going to go into A tier. This can be taken at low dosages. It cannot be taken at higher dosages without virilization occurring.
And so testosterone as an A tier, I do believe that's fair. Testosterone in low doses, for example, HRT, just as it is for men, could be equally done as well for women. And so if you're prescribed testosterone in low doses, and by low, I'm talking like 5 milligrams. I'm not talking about 25 milligrams a test or 50 milligrams a test. No, that is ridiculous. And so remember, if a woman wants to turn into a man, what are they going to give them? They're going to give them testosterone. Perhaps at 50 milligrams, maybe if they're lucky, 100, which is going to change them to a man very, very quickly. And so if you're taking 25 milligrams of test, what do you think is happening? You're slowly turning into a man. Now, women do have testosterone at about 1/12 that of a man. And so, for example, I'm on 140 milligrams a week. For a woman, perhaps that's equal to like 11 or 12 milligrams. And so for a woman at that dose, it's certainly not low. But at 5 milligrams, I believe it's safe for most females. You'd, of course, have to check with your doctor. Everyone's different. Get your blood work done. Of course, you can get that at AlgoRx. And look, what are your nanograms per deciliter? Are you in the reference range? Are you past 100? Is it too high? And so please be careful. And of course, monitor your own body. If something is growing, if you can hear a voice change, you can feel some hair growing where you shouldn't, or you're losing hair, you got to be careful, up the dose, and hey, it's your body and you only live once.
NPP coming in at B tier. You get some progesterone activity. You also get a little bit of estrogen activity.
And so NPP, I'm going to have to put that as C tier. Yeah, it's beneficial. Yes, it's better than using testosterone in higher doses. It's better than tren, but it isn't safe. Again, if you need to use NPP in order to do your competition, you shouldn't be competing. I care about the females, I care about women, even though I don't have all that many videos about them. I don't want women to get sucked into the pressure of having to put on so much size that they need to use NPP. And so this video is for people that perhaps are using some performance enhancing drugs to compete, but they don't want to virilize, they don't want to turn into a man. If you're using NPP, instead of something, for example, Anavar, picture this, you're injecting nandrolone into your body instead of using Anavar. Why would you do that? And so it would be the same analogy to using, for example, Winstrol. Why are you using Winstrol when you can use Anavar? Why are you using NPP if you can use VAR? And so I think it's going to too far of an extreme. I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't recommend it. And no, I've never coached a female to use NPP. I've never coached a female to use testosterone.
Masterone. I do believe that this is well tolerated for most women, similar to a Primo. I'm going to rate this one into an 8.
Masterone is going to be a tier below Primo. It's still dangerous. It's still going to have some side effects. Is it safer than many of the other steroids? Yes. You have to use very low doses. I'm talking about 10 milligrams and or less. If you're using 50 or 100 milligrams, you know you're turning into a man. Now, if you're a professional bodybuilder, of course, you're using these things, but for the average person, as in 99.9% of females and males watching this, you don't need to be using this. And so that's all for his list. I can't stop it right now. We need to add in some more. And so, for example, Osterine, I'm going to put that at S tier. This is a SARM. It's one of the weaker SARMs, but it's one of the most safe SARMs that you can use. Not that it's completely safe. It can alter your blood work, most certainly. I wouldn't recommend you do it for longer periods of time, but in low doses, it most certainly will accelerate your gains. I would say for most females, you're looking at 5 to 10 milligrams. When you start getting past those doses, there's a likely chance that you are going to experience negative side effects. But for most people, probably safer than Anavar, not as strong as Anavar. But if you are a female and you're dabbling into performance-enhancing drugs, most certainly Osterine and Anavar, I believe, are going to be at the top of your list. Next, Rad 140. I'm going to put that at an A tier. Remember, it is much stronger than Osterine. It's as strong as Anavar, and so you have to respect the strength of the product. It can cause side effects. For example, you could begin to lose your hair, but you have to use it in lower doses. But I would rather see somebody using low doses of Rad 140 than, for example, be using Deca, Masterone, and so on. Nova, this is something that many women are going to be using. They're concerned with holding water. It's going to reduce the side effects from estrogen, and so you're going to be a lot drier. Women have more estrogen than men. It's one of the reasons that they carry more body fat, that they look more bloated. And when you're on a competitive stage, of course, the drier the better to an extent. And so if you can look leaner by taking Nova, it's going to make a significant difference. And so I'm going to have this at A tier, not quite S tier, because frankly, it's only good for competitions. It's not something that I would recommend that you take year round. It's something that you could take only to peak for a photo shoot, for a competition. And so for that purpose alone, I'm giving it an A tier rating. Of course, I have to add in one more supplement, S tier, GO2 Max. Obviously, it's going to help you to do more cardio. More cardio burns more calories. You're going to get leaner. You have greater recovery and endurance. And so, of course, the best stack you could do is Turk Builder Max as well as GO2 Max. This is going to allow your training to be harder than last time, to do more cardio than last time. Put that together, you're going to burn the fat, get the package that you need. And on top of that, if you are an adult and you've spoken with your coach and you want to lose lower doses of the top tier products, certainly avoiding things that are the most viralizing, being careful, monitoring your body each and every week. And once you see those side effects, none of the, oh, I'm just getting a cold. I have a cold. If you're a woman and you think you're getting a cold and you're on a performance-enhancing drugs, you got to be cautious and you got to stop. It's not worth the risk. Oh, it's just tickle in my throat. It's nothing. It's going to be something if you continue. And so please stop. Your body is giving you warning signs. If you feel side effects, stop. I understand the pressure to look good. I know what you need to do in order to compete. Remember, if you are interested in coaching, you can, of course, click the link in the description and apply for coaching right now. But I'm telling you, it's not worth the risk. Remember, you're probably not going to compete in bikini forever. When you're done, you have to remember those changes that happen to your body, you can't go back in time. You can't reverse the clock. And so if you did something and now you're shaving or you have a deeper voice, you have to live with that for the rest of your life. And so please ask yourself, is it worth it? Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo, go to Algorex, get your blood work done, make sure that you're healthy. You can, of course, purchase things like enclomiphene, Cialis, dutasteride, finasteride, whatever. The list goes on and on from compounding pharmacies. Code Greg. Watch one of those two bloops. And of course, if you want to get sponsored by HTLT or become an ambassador, click the link right now. If you want to be coached and or carry the supplements in your stores and or gym, the link is there for you right now. And if you're interested in the Sculpt app by myself and Eric Janicki, you can have us showing you exactly how to train, get your body fat analysis done, workout programming, everything. Click the link in the description. And until next time, I am out.